implored to help them. So whenever I can, I try to help. I have friends who help me with money. Like they know that I'm always finding these projects and Jews in need. So they tell me, whenever you go on your next trip, if you need money to help somebody here, I'm going to help you out in advance because they know, something will probably come up.
So let's get back to Lebanon for a moment. There's no Jews there, is there?
There are Jews in Lebanon.
Open Jews?
No, they don't. There's no organized active Jewish community. There are some Jews. No one knows exactly how many because they're sort of living in hiding. It's estimated that there are between 15 Jews and 1,000 Jews. No one really knows. I met some of them on my visit to Lebanon, but once again, I can't really talk about who they are or what they're doing there.
So I'll ask this question because I want to get to your trip to Saudi Arabia and to Mumbai, but what is the scariest place that you've been to that you really felt, you know what, I want my mommy, I want to go home?
Okay, so the scariest experience I had was in Saudi Arabia. Definitely the scariest place I visited was Afghanistan. But the experience that I had in Saudi Arabia was when I went on my first trip in December of 2018. I had done some research in advance and I found out that there's actually an ancient Jewish town in northwestern Saudi Arabia near the border with Jordan. It's called Khaybar. And about 1,400 years ago, there were over 50,000 Jews living there. Today it's a ghost town, no one's there. But what happened was essentially, I think it was the year, I believe it was in 638 or 639, Muhammad, the prophet of the Muslims, came there with his son-in-law. The Jews were very rich. There was some kind of battle or war. I'm not sure what happened, but they basically killed 93 Jews and exiled everyone else to Iraq and Syria. So I found out about this town. I visited there. There's a mountain fortress that looks similar to Masada, and that's allegedly where the Jews were, that's where they were hiding. So I went to this place and I figured because there were 93 Jews killed there, Al-Qaddash Hashem, I should probably daven there. So I took my Rabbi Tam Tefillin and my talis and I went into the fortress and I sort of found this little cellar under the fortress where I was able to put on talis and tefillin. I davened mincha, I said Tikkun Klali, and then while I was finishing saying my Tehillim, I heard people screaming in Arabic. Now you have to understand that I thought I was alone. I hadn't seen anybody for miles. Like we're literally in the middle of the desert. So all of a sudden I hear people screaming. I ripped off my talis and tefillin, I shoved them into my bag, and I ran for my life back to my taxi. On the way back from this fortress to the taxi, I saw it was like an old man walking with his son. Really nothing to be scared of. But when you are in such a silent place, any sound you hear sounds deafening, and that was the biggest scare I ever had.
About Afghanistan, there was an article that ran in the National Post about 10 years ago that there were two Jews left in Afghanistan, and they didn't get along. They didn't want to go to each other's shul. When you wrote the article, there was only one. First of all, is that story true? And secondly, I think now there's only one Jew left in Afghanistan.
Yeah, so there were two Jews in Afghanistan. There was an older one. His name was Ishak Levin. Ishak is Yitzchak, and there's another one named Zvulun Simantov. Mr. Levin passed away a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, it seems they did not get along, but they weren't living in two separate shuls. They were living in this. They were like staying in the same shul.
And why did you go back? You brought some tefillin back to him?
No, so what happened there was I had been trying to contact Mr. Simantov, who was the last remaining Jew, for a while. Never had success. Finally, I got in touch with somebody who was in touch with him, and I was able to secure a sort of custom-made trip that would be with my security in mind. The people who were running the trip knew that I was Jewish, and they were willing to take me. So once again, with the bracha of Das Torah, I went to Afghanistan. I met with Mr. Simantov. I visited numerous shuls and cemeteries and Jewish sites throughout Afghanistan. And while I was there, I noticed that his tefillin were not kosher anymore. One of his ritzuas was completely ripped in half and it was held together with a safety pin. And his tefillin shel rosh also had a big problem on them. So I asked him if I could either fix his tefillin or send him a new pair, would he wear them? He said, of course. So when I got back to the United States, I reached out to some friends. We put together money for a new pair of tefillin, and then we had a company in Crown Heights donated a nice new tefillin bag. I actually put a video on YouTube about that whole story. And then a friend of mine volunteered to travel to Afghanistan to deliver the tefillin. So Baruch Hashem, Zvulun has a new tefillin right now.
I want Yosy to get in here and ask a few questions, but I think everybody wants to know how many frequent flyer points do you have?
Surprisingly,
it's okay. You don't have to tell me. That's okay.
I'll tell you. I don't have so many because what I usually do is, once again, I still have this hobby of traveling, so I always take the cheapest ticket. When you don't fly with the same airline or the same alliance, you never end up accumulating too many points. But Baruch Hashem, I have enough to get around.
Okay. What is that background, by the way, of that picture?
This is my very beautiful Zoom virtual study.
Yes. No, I wanted to know if it was taken from one of the shuls or places that you've visited in the past.
No, this is what my future home is going to look like.
I see. Okay.
If Ami was CNN, that's what his home would look like.
I see. My question was again regarding, I guess a little bit closer to my art, but when you went back to Mumbai, what was that like?
So Mumbai was a very, very emotional experience. I don't know why, but when you go through life, there's certain things that touch you more than others. And when the whole thing happened, when the terrorist attack happened in Mumbai in 2008, 2009, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was around 11, 12 years ago. I don't know why, it really moved me, it really touched me. I remember being very shaken up by that story. It was a place I always wanted to visit. And then when I traveled to Afghanistan, there's not really many flights to Afghanistan, and no one really wants to go there. There's like one daily flight from New Delhi in India, one flight from Dubai, one flight from Istanbul, that's about it. So the way it worked out for me was that I was going to have to go to Afghanistan through India. So when I returned from Afghanistan back to India, I made sure to visit Mumbai for Shabbos. I spent Shabbos in that Chabad house where the terrorist attack happened. It was an unbelievable Shabbos. I mean, you're literally davening l'chadoidi in the room where Yidden were killed, Al-Kiddush Hashem, not 1,000 years ago, 10 years ago. And in the shul, there's a plaque on the wall that says, this is where this one was killed, this is where that one was killed. It's very sad, but also very moving, the fact that they were able to build it up again, and it's a beautiful Chabad house, it's running again. People are coming, they're continuing the work that Rabbi Holtzberg and his wife did.
Did you ever learn about an old Yiddish minig, an ancient Jewish minig that you've never heard of before, that you encountered, that you learned about when you were in your travels?
So the answer is yes. The problem with that answer is that when I travel to places, a lot of the time, or most of the time, when I'm getting to that place, there haven't been no Jews there for a very long time. So I don't always get to learn about them in Hagim. I get to see what the Jews left, the cemeteries, the shuls. Not often that I get to actually meet Jews who can tell me much about what's going on, unfortunately. One interesting one that I picked up in Islamic countries was that, like, for example, I saw this in Afghanistan and in Azerbaijan, is that the Jews, when they go into shul to daven, they take off their shuls, similar to something that Muslims do. I'm sure it's not for the same reasons, but that's the minhag there. They put their shuls in these little cubbies in like the hallway of the shul before they get into the actual room. And then in the shul sanctuary, there'll be carpets all over the floor, and that's how they daven. And they're like, if you walk into a shul like that and you don't take off your shoes, that's considered highly offensive.
Was there any food, any local food that really bothered you, or they tried to feed you that you said you have to try this?
So this happens all the time where I'm
I don't know if my question
food.
came through or my audio came through. Yosy?
Yeah, I heard your food.
You heard you clear. You want to know if they serve chagovim in any of the countries.
So I'm always getting offered food. Almost always. I can never touch anything. But in the Asian, like in Central Asia, Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and all over the Arab world, if you don't partake in their food, it's also considered highly offensive. So I usually tell people that I'm on a very strict diet and I can't partake. I was in Kazakhstan and the Chabad Shliach gave me a wonderful local kind of knish that was really good, and I hope to try it again someday.
Yosy, I'm losing the sound a little bit. If you want to ask the next question, then go ahead. I wanted to know about the wealth in the Arab country that he visited.
There's one picture that Akiva put up when you met with a wealthy person. I'm not sure which country, but he was very much into making peace between Israelis and the Palestinians. Can you share with us a little bit of that conversation?
Sure. So that man, if you can put up the picture again, his name is Khalaf Al-Habtour. He's a Emirati billionaire, lives in Dubai, and he's considered one of the most powerful people in the country, even though he has no official position, but he's obviously has a lot of money and people take what he says very seriously. So I was able to secure a meeting with him on a very last minute basis. I actually had to have a suit made just for that meeting because it wasn't in the plan.
Like they made you the wrong style suit for that meeting.
Why is it the wrong style suit?
It's not white and it's not like, it doesn't look like a dress.
No, one of the things was I told his staff that if we're doing this meeting, like I very much want to show up in my traditional clothing, even though we're in an Arab country and whatever. And they said 100%, that's fine. So got the suit made for the meeting, went to the meeting. He's a very nice man. I don't agree with everything he says. But at the end of the day, he wants to make peace between Israel and the Arab world. He said some shocking things that caused a huge media outrage all over the Middle East. He said that Israel has to destroy Hezbollah and Hamas. He said basically to Israel, this is your problem. This is not our problem. These guys are your neighbors. You have to take care of them. And once you take care of them, the rest of the Arab world will be thankful to you. He also said that Jews and Muslims, are both come from Avraham Avinu, and he does not understand why we should be fighting. So, I think he's very brave for doing what he did because he got a tremendous amount of flack and outrage from all over the Arab world, and he stood by his statements, and I respect him very much for that.
Does he have any formal ties with Eretz Yisrael?
No, not at all. And he criticized Netanyahu during the interview, but again, that's his views. That's fine. But he told me he's been invited to visit many times. He has not done it yet.
Maybe he wants to come visit Toronto on Purim.
Would I go to host him?
Sure.
Yeah, maybe the
Yad.
Okay. I know this is a little bit of a biased question. What's your appreciation for Chabad having traveled the world?
I've always appreciated Chabad, but now that I travel the world, my appreciation is far, far greater. Number one, the amount of times Chabad has helped me in so many different places is, I can't count. And I feel like the Lubavitcher Rebbe had such a vision where any Jew, no matter where they are in the world, should have a home, have a place to be, have people who can help them out. It's just mind-boggling what one man was able to accomplish. And actually, I fly to the Kinnis Chabad every year from wherever I am. And this year, when I got there, people just kept bumping into me. All the shluchim, I know a lot of them. They're like, "Hey, it's the shliach to Afghanistan."
Was that the one country they don't have a shliach there, right? I guess you would be the one.
There are a few countries with no shliach, yeah.
Okay, so anybody has any questions for Shloimie, if you want to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask it, the questions now. It's really just to start. Each country, I know you went to Mount Sinai. I just learned the Gemara in Saita where nobody knows where Moshe Rabbeinu was buried. But are you sure that's Har Sinai, the one that you went to?
Absolutely not sure. I wrote that clearly in the article that this is speculation. There are many reasons to believe that it could be Har Sinai, but obviously there's no way of knowing because it's also written that we have no idea where Har Sinai is. But it was a very interesting experience. And if anyone needs that article, I can share it.
Yeah, there's no tourist shop at the bottom of the mountain, right?
There's a tourist shop actually at the top of the mountain.
Even better.
You didn't see any receipts from Shalom by Har Sinai for sure. There, no.
No. It's not popular yet. Give it a few years.
No, I mean by Kabul Satar. I'm sure there's a lot of Shalom there.
I'll ask you, since we have the time. I know that's a little tangential, but you went to Area 51?
Yeah.
And did you find any aliens? Where did they go? That picture right here.
First was there a Lubavitcher Shliach there.
That's right.
No, I actually was the Shliach. I'm the Shliach to Area 51 as well. Shliach of the aliens. It's actually a fascinating story, but basically I spent all day in the desert running around to these different, like they call it the conspiracy trail. There's all these different landmarks and things that are associated with Area 51. If I can't really go into what Area 51 is because it's too long to explain. If anybody doesn't know, Google it after. I actually made a video. It's on YouTube as well about it. Anyway, so Area 51, at the end of my day there, I met a Yid in a hotel parking lot. There's a hotel called the Little Alien, get it? And so we met in the parking lot and I asked him if he wanted to put on tefillin. He wasn't interested, but eventually he agreed. He put on tefillin. Then he got very emotional. He told me he hadn't put on tefillin in over 20 years. So the chances that him and I would meet, like literally smack middle of the Nevada desert, Area 51, is clearly we see the Yad Hashem.
It was the aliens that Kaylee Van Veeuwen.
You met Rabbi Lazar in Russia. I know that.
I met him in Jerusalem. I was in Russia, but I never met him there.
Oh, you didn't meet him there. Oh, so you met him in Jerusalem. Is he as close to Putin as reports have it?
I think he's closer.
So he's really running Russia, not Putin.
I would not venture to say that, but Rabbi Lazar is, in my opinion, probably the most well-connected and powerful rabbi in the world.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, Rabbi Lowy, thank you. What's the most interesting from all your trips that you feel you could give over, the most interesting story?
Most interesting, so that's a very
I
good
never thought,
question.
Shlomie, when I knew you as a little boy, I never thought you would be this world traveler.
I didn't think it either.
I'm really proud of you. Really.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me that you're spending your time to listen to this, watch this. The most interesting thing. I don't know. Can you be more specific? That's such a general question.
Like a trip that really stays in your mind that you never thought this would happen. And, you know,
In other words, yeah. The one that says, I made this job is why, this is what I was born to do. I know it. This is the why I got involved in this.
I can tell you this. My trip to Saudi Arabia had nothing to do with Yiddishkeit, meaning I didn't think I was going to meet any Yidden. I didn't think I was going to come in contact with any Yidden. We knew that it wasn't going to be a Jewish history-based trip. It was just going to be a trip to see a country that nobody's ever traveled to because it's been historically off the limits to any form of tourism or business travel since its founding. In December of 2018, they opened the country for the first time as a test run. They gave out 1,000 tourist visas. I was one of the first 1,000 people to travel to the country. And the whole experience there really changed me in a way because, again, I'm not walking around acting like, not looking openly like a Yid. I don't advertise it. But it did come up in conversations. I met people who found out I was Jewish, and they had heard bad things about Jewish people all their lives. They've been indoctrinated with all sorts of terrible books in their school system and in the Arab media. And then all of a sudden, they meet a Jew in real life for the first time. And so many people told me it completely changed their perception of what Judaism is, what a Yid is like. They can now finally start being open to the idea of being friendly to Jews, being friendly to Israel. I made a YouTube video about my trip. it's going to hit 60,000 views this week. It has almost 1,000 comments from people in Saudi Arabia telling me how I changed their view on Jews. Next time I come to the country, they want me to visit them. They want me to stay at their homes, something I probably won't do. But the fact that a Yid can go out into the world and just behave like a mensch and change people's perspective of what Yiddishkeit is and what Am Yisrael is I think, very powerful.
What's the object of trips? What's the purpose of every trip that you do?
So everyone is different. Some are most of them have to do with Jewish history, traveling to places where there is a disappearing Jewish community or a community that has already disappeared. And sometimes it's just to bring something interesting to the readers, like Saudi Arabia was just, we thought it would be fascinating to send somebody there because it's a country that's never been explored. I've also found on my trips that almost every time there's a hidden reason, a reason that I didn't know was going to come up, something that for some reason I had some shlichus to do, for example, to bring that Yid Tefillin, or in Cuba to bring food. And one of the lessons I've learned throughout all these trips is that a Yid really never knows why he's doing something. Hashem could send you somewhere and you think it's for one reason, really it's for a whole other reason. But you have to trust the process and trust in Hashem that he's sending you on the right path. And very often we're zeichet to see the Yad Hashem and everything we do.
Where are the and I think you're going to enjoy answering the next question, but I think that the audience listening is going to pique their curiosity. What do you have next? Where are you going next?
So obviously I can't talk about it. My standard answer is that I still haven't been to Switzerland and I still haven't been to Morocco, two very popular tourist destinations that I love to visit. But obviously there are so many projects I'm working on. I've been to numerous countries that I can't talk about yet, also in the Arab world. That's one of the things I do a lot is now I connect with people in the Muslim and Arab world, because I've seen it so powerful that we can really change people's perception of what Klal Yisrael is like. So I've had a lot of high-profile meetings in governments, people, movers and shakers in the Middle East. A lot of them, some of them tell me, we can meet, but no pictures allowed. Others say, we can meet, you can take a picture, but you can never publish this. I'll lose my job or I'll get in big trouble. So we're trying to do whatever we can do. And if you read Ami, trust me, Be'ez Hashem, after this whole craziness is over, there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming.
I guess the some people want to know, when you go, you usually stay in Airbnbs. You fly, you said, on the cheapest airline. So you that's your favorite, whatever is least costly.
Well, I mean, I always like better airlines, and I'd love to get a better seat. But the most important thing to me personally is to be able to see as much as I can. So if I can get a cheaper ticket that'll let me get a stopover somewhere I haven't been, then that's something I would definitely do. I usually stay in hotels just because I find them more efficient with timing and there's less problems. Airbnbs have their advantages as well, but when I'm doing work trips, I usually stay in hotels.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. If there's ever a mission to Mars, you'll probably go there, but then discover that Chabad beat you to it.
I'd be very happy to find that.
The Rav wants to give him a bracha to continue to reach Jews and touch Jews everywhere.
Wherever you go means Hashem is going with you. And I really, the Baruch Hashem should help you that wherever you go, you should be safe in every place. And the Baruch be with you. And you should be able to bring back good reports for all of us to see how wherever you go, the Baruch Hashem's hand is there. And especially what you're doing in the Arab world, to show that we're normal. We don't have horns on our head, and we're Erlich Eden, and we're fine people. And really, you're a Pe'er Yisrael, Asher B'chol Yisrael. Your Baruch Hashem is proud of you. You make a Kiddush Hashem wherever you go.
Thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to me.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I think your grandmother tuned on. Is that Marcia? Let me see if I could find her. Did she give you a bracha? Have you spoken to her recently? Did you call your grandmother?
I unmuted her.
Before Shabbos.
Just unmuted her.
Unmute her.
Shloimie, you were amazing.
Thank you so much, Booby.
I love you, and I'm so proud.
Thank you so much. Love you too.
Thank you for having my grandson.
You're welcome. We're very proud of him. We're very proud of the Association of Aguda. We're very proud of our shul. We're very proud of our Rav. We're proud of Klal Yisrael, wherever they may be. Thank you so much, Shloimie. Mirza Hashem will do this again, live on location.
Who knows which country Mashiach is hiding in? Did you bump into him yet?
The Rav told us it was Basra when there was an invasion in Kuwait. The Rav said it was Basra. Am I right? Did the Rav mention that? Right, Basra.
Yeah. Okay, Billionaire, one day I'm going to go to Basra to try to find him.
Okay. Call us. Thank you all. Nice to see you.
For Camp Sunshine?
Sorry?
Remember you were in Camp Sunshine in our house.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that, but now that you say it, I remember something.
So where were you more afraid? In Camp Sunshine or in Beirut?
Sorry?
Where did you have more yira? In Camp Sunshine or in Beirut?
Probably Camp Sunshine.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really.
Thank you. It's nice to see. I see Rabbi Brunner joined us. Everybody say hi to Rabbi Brunner.
Hey, Brunner, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
We say hello to Rabbi Brunner. Thank you.
Thank you,
Shloimie. Good morning. Thank you for waking up. Thank you very much, everybody. Tuesday night, we have politician nights. James Pasternak and possibly Michael Levitt will be on. I'm sure Yossi Simon is salivating at the opportunity.
No softball questions for that.
Okay. No, it's all going to be fair. Thank you so much, Ashikoyach. Have a good night. Daf Yoimi. Good night. Daf Yoimi is on next with Rabbi Finkel. Thank you.
Okay.
Very interesting. Isaac.
Yeah?
How are you?
Who's that?
I can't say.
Oh, 1 second. Who's that? Oh, Ellie.
Your time is up, Isaac. It's 8:30. You got to get off.
I'm giving the share.
Chabad, recliner.
Brunner, how are you?
You're speaking about SHLOIMIE Yitzchak.
Yeah. How are you, Rabbi Brunner? Go to.
Isaac, how are you?
Wait, Rabbi Cohn just spoke right now. Torah Anytime Live. Torah, you go to Torah Anytime Live.
Hey, Brunner, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, how are you today?
Brunner.
20 hours.
When are you, Rabbi Brunner?
Anytime Live.
Rabbi Brunner, when are you coming back?
Who knows?
Who knows? I was going to call you.
That was surprising.
I was upset that you didn't give me Aliyah on Pesach.